everyone. Wonia here, and it is getting so close. We're getting so close to the premiere of Alone Season 6, and it's very exciting. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I came to do Alone Season 6. I get contacted by a lot of these shows because I've been in the field and a teacher for a long time, have a business related to it, I have a website, I teach at lots of gatherings all around the country, so I've got a name in this world, and I get contacted a lot, and I have pretty much always dismissed all of these shows and have felt like they're not really about the skills, and they emphasize the drama, and they don't feel authentic, they feel kind of staged and forced, so I wanted no part of them. But last spring, I was out on a survival trip with a program that I was a student in, and there were a group of 13 of us out on the land going out with minimal gear and all wild foods, and really being out there as a relationship building process, going out for a connection to a wild place as opposed to for a skills test or a skills journey. And having been a person who's done a lot of such trips, there was something really beautiful about the intention and the prayerfulness with which we went into this trip that really set it apart. And being out there was really amazing for me. And I really felt the land opening up and communicating with me in a whole different way than I had experienced before when I hadn't had some of these connection processes at the center of my wilderness time. There was so much trust and so much reciprocity in the way we were in that place. And on the last day before we left, I went on a hike by myself, and I was on some rocks, and I looked down over the ledge of these rocks, and I saw this strange pattern down below that I couldn't quite place. And after a little while of looking at it, these two white spots kind of leapt out at me. And again, it took a minute, and I was a little confused, and then it just popped out at me like one of those magic eye drawings, and it was a bobcat down sleeping in the sunshine on a rock. And it was absolutely amazing. And I watched it for quite some time until at some point it woke up a bit and it looked at me. And our eyes just locked. A bobcat and I just absolutely frozen in one another's gaze. And I sat there so long, just staring at it, that eventually the bobcat's eyes started to droop and it fell back asleep. And there was something so profound in that moment of connection, and seeing this wild thing trust me so much to fall asleep with me looking at it, I felt deeply changed by the encounter. So between that bobcat moment and my time out, I just felt something click inside me and felt a real call towards more trips like this. They had been a big part of my life for some time. I used to do Stone Age trips and really intense minimalist wilderness trips, and I hadn't been doing it for a while. I'd been more focused on teaching and then in the past couple years being a student. So I felt this extreme call back to that way of being in the world, and I said, I want another of these trips, way longer, way deeper and more minimalist with way less people. I want a really deep dive into this. I want that soon. And I left the woods, and when I got back to civilization and checked my email, in my inbox I had an invite from the Alone show. Now, I hadn't wanted anything to do with television shows before, but the timing, the coincidence of just having voiced what I wanted, and then looking into what Alone was, and it was exactly the thing that I had been asking for. It just also happened to include cameras. But even though I hadn't thought I wanted to do a television program, having that answer to my prayers so clearly, I couldn't deny it. So there's more to the story, of course, and I'll be sharing more of that soon. But I did end up going to boot camp, which is the final selection process for Alone. And in going to boot camp, I made a pair of boots to take with me. Just occurred to me, boot camp boots. That totally wasn't intentional. But at any rate, we needed sturdy shoes, and I don't wear standard hiking boots, so I decided to make my own. And I made these boots that I've called my Bobcat boots because they were inspired by that encounter with a bobcat, and I put a bobcat track on the back of them. So these are grain on brain tanned deer skin that I tanned, and I made these with prayers to help me embody the bobcat. Its hunting capacity, its ability to move quietly on the land, its beauty, its grace. These were big medicine for me that I took with me to my alone experience. So rather than focus on skills going into boot camp, I wanted to bring the magic of that encounter and that energy that I brought to that wilderness survival trip with me. So, yeah, that is what I wanted to share today. Some of the background to why I ended up on Alone Season 6. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. Coming up soon, Thursday, June 6th, 10 p.m. Pacific.